Knock on the Saints door. Quarterback sneak by Tom Brady to the 43-year-old score. He did. Touchdown, Tampa Bay. Now spiked that ball, Tom Brady. Who says I'm 43? He runs right up the gut and scores 6. 7. Handoff, run the ball. Fournette slashes away to the 40, to the 35, to the 30, to the 30, 25, to the 20. Fournette to the 10, 5, 3, 2, 1. Touchdown, Tampa Bay. Run the ball, Leonard Fournette. Wow, what a blast up the gut, found daylight, and outran everybody. Fire the cannons, get them going. Bucs win. Bucs win, Bucs win. Fire them cannons.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Swords Up Podcast. Today we're going to be talking about our 38-10 win at home over the Green Bay Packers, and oh my goodness, this was quite the game for the Buccaneers. Honestly, their statement win of the season, so we're going to be analyzing the game and looking at the player of the game, as well as the important stats. But first, looking at the injury report, and the only real major injury in this game was to David Bakhtiari. No major injuries on the Buccaneers side, but David Bakhtiari, the Packers left tackle, suffered what's being labeled as a chest injury. And as of now, it's undetermined how severe the injury is, but it looks like he might be able to stay on the field next week, so it doesn't look like he's going to miss any significant time, but he was pulled out of the game late in the third quarter. So that's about it for the injury side. But before we look at the analysis of this game, just want to break down a little bit of team news we have. Is that a couple hours after the game, Rick Stroud of the Tampa Bay Times, who's close with the Buccaneers, so I'd say he's a pretty trustworthy source, has reported that the Buccaneers will be trading for Jets defensive tackle Steve McClendon. According to Stroud, the Buccaneers will be receiving McClendon as well as the Jets' 2023 7th round pick in exchange for the Buccaneers' 2022 6th round pick. So this is pretty good value for a veteran defensive tackle at a position of need, obviously with the Vita Vea injury. Raheem Nunez-Roches was starting at that position for us against the Packers, but McClendon is a bit of an upgrade over him. Looking at McClendon's career, he is 34, so he's a bit old. He's definitely a veteran player, and I feel like one that we need at that position, and he has plenty of experience, so a nice stopgap for us in that position with Vita Vea out for the rest of the season. This was his 5th year with the Jets this year, and before that, he spent the earlier part of his career with the Steelers, signing with them as an undrafted free agent in 2009 and staying with them until 2015. Now looking at the analysis from this game, and oh my gosh, where do I start? This was quite the game. As a Bucs fan, you got to look at this and say, wow, because both sides of the ball was absolutely fantastic. But today I'm going to highlight the player of the game to be Devon White. I think he made a really big impact in this game, but I will talk a little more about the players who really also had a big impact. But Devon White I wanted to especially highlight because he looked really solid today. He had 9 tackles, 3 for a loss, and 1 sack. Was flying all over the field along with Levante David. So leading the defense to an impressive performance, holding the Packers offense that was number 1 in scoring coming into this game, scoring 38 points per game, holding them to just 10 points in this one. Looking at the stats for the game, obviously the Packers weren't at their best. Aaron Rodgers did not have a good day himself. He completed 16 passes on 35 attempts, 160 yards, no touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and those 2 interceptions were what really turned the game around in our favor. The first one was definitely a bad throw, straight to Jamel Dean, who undercut the route, and that was the pick 6 that cut the lead to 3 in the first quarter, and then the one to Mike Edwards, which put us down to 2, led to the easy Ronald Jones touchdown, which put us up by 4, and we never let go of control of that game from that point on. Jamal Williams was the leading rusher with 34 yards on 4 carries. A.J. Dillon had 5 carries for 31 yards, and Aaron Jones had 10 carries for 15 and 1 touchdown. Packers' leading receiver was Devontae Adams, 6 catches for 61 yards, and second was Marquez Valdez-Scantling, 3 for 32 yards. Defensively, Chris Burns had 10 tackles. He was their leading tackler, followed by Josh Jackson with 6, and Montravius Adams recorded the only tackle for a loss. Now looking at the Buccaneers side of things, Tom Brady had a pretty good game. Not one that would really pop out statistically, but he did do a great job managing the game and also made really key throws for those 2 touchdown passes that he had. He completed 17 of 27 passes for 166 yards and the 2 touchdowns like I mentioned. Ronald Jones had an excellent game, 23 carries, 113 yards, 2 touchdowns, followed by Keyshawn Vaughn with 5 carries for 42 yards. Rob Gronkowski scored his first touchdown as a Buccaneer in this game. He was our leading receiver, 5 catches for 78 yards and 1 touchdown, followed by Chris Godwin, 5 catches for 48 yards. And Tyler Johnson also recorded his first touchdown as a Buccaneer, 1 catch for 7 yards and 1 touchdown. Defensively, Mike Edwards and Jamel Dean had the interceptions, Jamel Dean having the pick 6, and Mike Edwards having the second interception returned down to the 2-yard line. In addition to those interceptions, they both had a pass defended, and Carlton Davis had 4 passes defended, and the crucial tip that led to Mike Edwards' interception. Devon White, I mentioned as our key player. Levante David had 8 tackles, 1.5 sacks, and 2 tackles for a loss. Jason Pierre-Paul had 6 tackles, 1.5 sacks, and 1 forced fumble. Carlton Davis had 6 tackles and the 4 passes defended, like I mentioned. Sean Murphy-Bunting had 4 tackles. Antoine Winfield had 5 tackles. And Dominican Sue had a sack. So yeah, that's really about it for the stats. But just looking at the keys to why we won this game, overall, we played a really clean game. I think that was like one of the cleanest games you can possibly play or something like that. We had no penalties, no sacks, and no turnovers, which was really surprising considering how last week against the Bears, it was just penalty after penalty, it felt like, and that was just one of the factors that really killed us in that game. But to see us rebound like this against a really good Packers team, it's really good to see. And it proves that when we're at our best, when we find the winning formula and stick to it, we can pretty much beat anyone in this league. Defensively, when we were down 10-0, we know we really turned around the game. Those 2 interceptions swung the momentum in our favor, and we really never let control of the game from that point on. And just keeping the pressure on Aaron Rodgers and forcing him to make errant throws was really the driving force in this game. So I'd say defense really carried us once again in this game. And obviously, we played a really balanced game, both offensively and defensively. I think it was one of the most balanced performances we've seen from the Buccaneers in quite a long time. So other than that, that is pretty much it from me for this game. Let me know what you thought about this game in the comments below. I was super happy watching the game. I don't remember getting so happy about a Buccaneers win in such a long time. But this game really showed that I think the Buccaneers are ready to be contenders this year and that we could see the Packers again sometime in the postseason. But that is it for me. Thank you guys for watching, and go Bucs.